Every decade of my life put me in a different arena. And for at least 10 years of my life, I worked with people in like drug cartels and the world of prostitution, drugs and homelessness and poverty. And I worked with the NFL quite a bit. And 75% of their players, 2 to 5 years after they retired, are bankrupt, divorced, drug addicted, or dead. I sat at Alfred's coffee shop on Melrose Place with a Hall of Fame football player who had made over $100 million in his career, who was living out of his car. Now I'm buying the coffee because he didn't have any place to live. And I'm trying to help him reconstruct his life. Some people never changed no matter what I taught them. And I would change what I would teach based on how I grew and learned. And then when I became a person of faith, I had God, I had Jesus. And some people still didn't change. Even when they said they believed. Other people, they changed no matter what.
You wrote this book.
The newest book is called Mind Shift. Yeah.
About this mind shift.
Yeah.
What was the
subcaption is you don't have to be a genius to think like one.
Tell me more.
And really, I think a lot of the material of Mind Shift began when I spent 10 years working with the poor.
Mm-hmm.
Every decade of my life put me in a different arena, really.
Mm-hmm.
And for at least 10 years of my life, I worked with people in like drug cartels and the world of prostitution, drugs and homelessness and poverty. And when I went in, without being hyper political, I was about as extreme a socialist and as far to the left as a human being could be.
Got it.
Even an anarchist. I believed all governments were evil and all institutions need to be destroyed, whether they're companies or schools. It didn't matter. Like, you know, I was like, blow it all up.
For sure.
Let it just run wild.
Absolutely. And we'll figure it out.
Like, it's like, so I go work with the poor with that mindset, and I think the evil is the institutions.
Mm-hmm.
It's the government. It's the economic system. And so I was just, in my mind, removing all the obstacles that would allow everyone to naturally elevate, and it didn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a devastation for all my idealism. And so I had to go, okay, some people never changed no matter what I taught them. And I would change what I would teach based on how I grew and learned.
Yep.
And then when I became a person of faith, I had God, I had Jesus.
Yeah.
And some people still didn't change.
Right.
Even when they said they believed, even when there was evidence of believing.
Right, for sure.
Other people, they changed no matter what I taught them. And even when I look back, go, I wasn't even right.
Right. You listened to me, and I changed my mind.
I've grown and changed, but it worked.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And so I realized, it's not as much what I was bringing to the table as much as what they were bringing to the table, but they didn't know they had it on their table.
That's good.
And I just started rearranging the furniture in their mental universe and helping them realize, oh no, you were on target. You just didn't have any enforcement telling you this is the right way to think.
Got it.
And then as you help people develop different mental structures, they begin to elevate.
Yeah.
Even when they had more obstacles than the person who did not elevate, who still blamed the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I moved to LA. I started working in the world of artists and creatives and innovators and celebrities and all that kind of world. And I began discovering the same mental structures and that were crippling them at the same time. And even success and celebrity and fame didn't fix it.
Yeah.
Which is why they would oftentimes self-destruct.
Yeah.
And then I started working in this more in the sports world with a lot of athletes and began discovering the same thing. And then my life moved me into the world of high-level entrepreneurs and CEOs and top people in industries. And I began seeing the same mental structures. And so I realized, it isn't surprising why a person can make $1 billion and then still lose their marriage and have their kids hate them because they didn't fix the mental structures that actually affect the things that matter the most in their life. And then everyone's shocked. It doesn't shock me why pastors that we admire and look up to and elevate, they crash and burn due to moral or financial crisis. And it's because the mental structures were never dealt with.
Correct.
Their talent was so extreme. Their charisma was so dynamic.
Right.
And frankly, a lot of times churches pretend that they're character-based, but they're actually talent-based. And so... And it's challenging, right? Because
I'm grateful you said that.
Yeah, and I realized, the reason we've been fairly vaccinated to that is because the churches that I normally started were filled with people who didn't believe in God.
Right.
So they didn't hide anything.
Right.
They were way too open.
Absolutely. That's exactly
Like,
right. Yeah.
They were bragging about
That's
them.
right. That's exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So you didn't have anything hidden.
Right.
And so as they grew and elevated, they didn't have something hidden in their life that they were afraid would cause them to lose favor with
That's
the people
good.
that they admired.
That's very good.
But
That's
other
very
people,
good.
they're elevated so fast they don't get time to clean out the closet.
That's correct.
Right? In
That's
fact,
correct.
you're actually encouraged just keep the closet closed.
Absolutely correct.
Just
That's
keep
right.
it in there.
That's right.
You know?
Absolutely.
And eventually that closet just gets more full and more full and more full. And then the pressure of success becomes so debilitating that they become self-destructive.
That's right.
And they open the closet,
Yeah.
not because they don't want to be found, but because they want to be free.
That's correct. Absolutely correct. They're looking for an escape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see this in the sports world. You see this in the business world. I mean, I worked with the NFL quite a bit, and 75% of their players, 2 to 5 years after they've retired, are bankrupt, divorced, drug addicted, or dead. I sat at Alfred's Coffee Shop on Melrose Place with a Hall of Fame football player who had made over $100 million in his career, who was living out of his car. Now I'm buying the coffee because he didn't have any place to live, any money, and any future. And I'm trying to help him reconstruct his life.
Yeah.
And the reason I wrote Mind Shift is because there's two great dangers. One is that you don't know how to handle the weight of failure, but the other one is you don't know how to handle the weight of success.
Yeah.
And so many people I work with actually are crushed under the weight of success.
Yes, they are. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct.
And it's easier to help a person get over the weight of failure.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
And you know, and I realized, it's just incremental. I got a wonderful compliment this morning, and this guy came up to me. The company this morning is worth over $40 billion that I was working with, and the guy said, "Hey, you know, I read Napoleon Hill and Jim Rohn and all these people, and Mind Shift is like in 140 pages, the consolidation of everything they ever wrote and said."
Wow.
He said it's the best mental structure book I've ever read. And so I was like really excited someone actually read this, reads this literature, would say that about the book.
Yeah.
But I think the reason it's so good is it's so simple.
Yep.
You can read this book in one night.
Yep.
And what's exciting to me is people are DMing me going, I'm on my third or fourth reading. Like now I'm going back and dissecting the chapters. And I wrote it in a sense to be almost like a, not a training manual, but a survival kit. You know, because like chapter 5 may not matter to you right now.
Yep.
But note it because it's going to matter to you.
That's right.
Like, and
there's going to be a time.
Yeah. Like chapter 1 matters to everyone who's not really super successful.
Yep.
But chapter 3 is going to matter when you're becoming successful, because chapter 1 is people matter most. It's all about people. And most people who don't have a type A personality believe it's all about people.
Right. Very true.
Because they don't believe it's about goals and objectives and wealth and success. And
That's
fame.
right.
So but frankly, they're not that committed to very many people because they're as unambitious relationally as they are financially. And so then when you go, it's all about people, you start making different choices.
That's right.
Because that means that if you are underusing your potential, you are not contributing what you should be contributing to people in your life.
That's correct.
But chapter 3 is you can't take everyone with you. And,
so true.
And that is a part of the transitional pain of anyone who's deciding to move out of the status quo. Because every single time I decided to elevate, I lost friends. And it was always my fault.
Always going to be your fault. Yeah. You left them.
No,
you've changed.
That's right. And
That's right.
You know why they say that?
Because you did.
That's right.
You absolutely changed.
So you can't go, no, I didn't.
No, you did. Because you had to.
Yeah.
It was out of necessity.
But you know what we don't say back because we don't have the courage?
Yeah.
But you didn't. And that's the unspoken conversation that needs to be had.